So for some of us, as Maria just said, A Course in Miracles can be interpreted and intellectualized and just get us so stuck in our heads about concepts. And one of the concepts that I think many of us are outgrowing is the idea that the ego is wrong, that it's a mistake, that it needs to be evacuated or cleared out or risen above, certainly judged, because everything would be just fine without it. And, to me, it's a little bit like blaming the devil for what's going on in your life. In the 1800s and early 1900s, most people blamed the devil. Then A Course in Miracles came around and people started blaming the ego for all of their troubles. And it's like the ego itself loves the conversations that make it wrong because it feeds it. And lately we've been talking about welcoming everything. And guess what? The ego, whatever that is not excluded from the Welcome Everything Club. So how can we acknowledge, appreciate, make space for ego? I received this idea this morning, so I want to share it with you. Imagine that your ego is like a security guard guarding the house of your body. And it received instructions early on in your life to always be on guard. The instruction said, hey, this person is a body. Bodies are vulnerable in this world. This body is going to need protection 24/7. And the ego said, okay, boss, I'll be your protector. And it's just doing its job. And as you start to remember that you are not a body, this 24-hour security system has to go through a transformation. And one way to transform it is to try to kick it out, make it wrong. And that just doesn't work. Resistance is futile. So what else can we do with our security guard that's more loving and honoring and welcoming? Instead of asking him to retire, to get out of here, how about we teach him how safe we are? That gradually over time, we invite him into the house and say, guess what? We've learned that we are eternity and we don't need 24/7 protection. So you can retire if you want, but I'd like to keep you on board. You've been such a loyal servant. You've been so loyal and so precious. How about we give you a new job description? Instead of pumping fear into our body to keep us more alert and on the lookout for danger, how about you pump good cheer into our body mind? How about you look out instead of you've been such a good lookout for danger. How about you start looking out for all the beautiful things going on in the world, the beautiful things in nature, the beautiful qualities of divine childlike energy within ourselves and within others. How about you go on a 24/7 alert for all the good in the world and give the ego new marching orders and teach him gradually, very gradually. It's like the military. Now, some people would love to, retire the military, fire the military, just suspend it. That would not be a wise choice. Let's say we got the military to agree that there was no more need for a military budget for attack, even defense, weapons, violence. What about the military serving a different purpose, like going into the cities and feeding the homeless, or, going to different parts of the world and, aiding people who are in some kind of natural disaster? So the military will be so important as we evolve and enlighten. It'll still be there. It'll just serve a different purpose. Same thing. Your ego wants to help. It wants to serve you. And if you don't need it to be on the phone with 911 waiting for the next calamity, you can give it new instructions. You get to creatively do that in your own way. But one thing we don't do anymore is we don't make it wrong to have an ego. Does that make sense? Let's have a chat about that. Let's have Q&A and maybe some songs.